Okay, so welcome to what we call the annual general meeting of AsiaCALL. AsiaCALL stands for the uh, Asia Association of Computer Assisted Language Learning, and it has been going for almost 20 years now. It was founded by Professor Dr. Larry Jung of Yongju University in Korea, and I am honored to be the fourth president of AsiaCALL. I will not be the fourth president of AsiaCALL forever, so line up for the job soon. One of the things I wanted to say to you is that this is the opportunity to talk a little bit about AsiaCALL with some time so that we're not always in a hurry to produce welcome speeches and farewell speeches and so on. So let me, first of all, uh, produce some thanks. The thanks are to Van Lang University for offering us what is clearly a beautiful place. And for all of you who are physically in Van Lang University, for joining AsiaCALL, and actually for being for being present in such a boring meeting as we are going to have. So I will try to keep it very short. So, thank you, Van Lang University. As you know, I hold the rank of professor at Ho Chi Minh City Open University. I know Vietnam reasonably well, and I hope to be able to visit Van Lang University once this is all over and strengthen the connections between AsiaCALL and the university. Thank you all for the work that you've done, and in particular the tired students that I saw at the end of the video that we looked at just now. There are, however, some special people who need special thanks. Associate Professor Dr. Pham Vu Phi Ho is Vice President of AsiaCALL, but he is the one who suggested that AsiaCALL be held at Van Lang University, and he is the one, like in all of these situations, who had to do the work of putting it together. So please join me in thanking him very much for the opportunity to have him do this for us. Clap, 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 clap. Um, there, of course, is another person who is actually the chair, not only of AsiaCALL 2021, but also of VL-TESOL, Van Lang TESOL conference. And that is the Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, Dr. Phan Te Hong. And please join me in thanking him also for the role that he played. And it's been a very substantial role. Thank you so much. Okay. While we are in the process of thanking people, let me also thank members of the executive committee. There's only 4 people who run AsiaCALL at the moment. Dr. Ho is one, I'm one, Dr. Anya Lyon is one also, and Associate Professor Dr. Kalyan Chattopadhyay from India is the 4th member of the executive committee. Thank you to all of them for holding the fort and putting this conference together. Now, let me make a couple of other comments. AsiaCALL has tried very hard over the last 20 years to make itself accessible to people from everywhere without discrimination in terms of income, in terms of status, and so on. We've done pretty well. We've kept the costs of enrollment in the conference very low, and this year even lower because all the international speakers were free. They appeared online, and we decided not to charge anybody. Other conferences do not do the same. We also tried to kind of democratize the system a little bit. And this year, instead of um, having a second keynote speaker. We had our main keynote speaker, Professor Rafael Salaberry from Rice University, which is where I also taught at one stage. And we decided we would select one paper from the many papers that were offered as representative of the best that research can offer and the best that Vietnam can offer. And we chose Dr. Nguyen Ngoc Vu from, where is he? Never mind. And okay, hello, thank you, congratulations. We also instituted something which allowed AsiaCALL, yes, we also instituted something to allow AsiaCALL to have more of a voice, and that is to have the first of the AsiaCALL presidential addresses. We hope that they will continue long after I have left the scene. I was going to say that AsiaCALL is a very curious organization. It's curious because it has no members, it has no money, and it has a fairly limited activity. It has no money. It's okay because at the moment we haven't had a need for money. The only costs that we have are things like websites, and I have been carrying that for some time. I'm sure that I or someone else will continue that. When I say it has no members, what I mean is that AsiaCALL has developed over the years how can I put this? It's a very strange thing. It has developed a sense of family. People join AsiaCALL or come to AsiaCALL conferences, and then very often they come again, and they come again. This varies from time to time. Sometimes there's a lot of faces that you recognize. Sometimes there are fewer. This year we have Professor Obari from Japan, who is here with us, one of our stalwarts. Hello, nice to see you. And then we have Ning Ying Sam from Malaysia. Also, she's been with us since the beginning of AsiaCALL, and I'm really happy to see them here. We had, oh, where is she? Is she coming? She's coming. Hello. And Professor Enokida, who also was here. So we had a few from the past, we have a lot from the present, and hopefully many more for the future. We've had an amazing, actually, collection of people from all over the place presented, from Ethiopia, from Iran, from the US, Poland, and so on. So that's that's given the sense of the AsiaCALL family to live for. Because in the end, the only thing that we have done consistently over the last roughly 20 years is to have a conference. Now, this is not different from what many other associations do. We also have one more thing, and this is we have some publications, and we are in the process of renewing those publications and strengthening them. And I think this year, one of the reasons that so many people joined is that we have developed, thanks to Dr. Ho, some new connections to print, refereed, and indexed publications, which come from the conference. So we have this, as I said, curious thing. AsiaCALL seems to exist when we have a conference, and then it becomes dormant for the rest of the time. And then again, we rise up, and then we have this lovely meeting together with old faces and new faces mixing, but remembering at the same time that our job is about research and about professionalism. And we have done this successfully yet again this year. I am really quite amazed by the range of research projects that have been produced. Some are solid, some are still in the beginning stages, but they're all well-meaning and they all build the future together. So we have developed this very fruitful following. But we have a little problem. We also have a constitution. The constitution says that we need to have elections, and in order to have elections, we need to have members. But as I just said, we don't have any members. So we're caught in a circle. And if you allow us, and a circle that's been terribly disrupted by COVID this year, with some losses in various families, which has not helped at all. So we will find a solution to the election problem. We were planning to have this conference actually in, anyone remember? In Bhutan. We had established the links with Bhutan. We had established the facilities for arriving there, and then COVID stopped us. Let's hope that we can return to some normality, although my own sense of it is that normality is, the normal is not going to happen again for a long, long time. I'd like, however, even though we may not proceed with elections, let me tell you something now, which is that I have no ambition to create a dynasty of me ruling over AsiaCALL. I will be giving up the presidency soon, and it will be up to the process that we develop to replace me and or other members of the executive committee. And we may have to look to a new structure for AsiaCALL to make it more responsive to the needs, assuming that there is a need to be responsive. So I'm going to give you a test for today. Okay, are you ready for the test? Well, it's only a little test. The test is, I'd like to suggest maybe three research projects that we could undertake with little effort on our part, and which will enrich not just AsiaCALL, but CALL in general. Okay, so are you ready? First research project. I would like us to create they're all about databases. I would like us to create a database of all the initiatives that that Asian scholars have put together to deal with COVID. Okay, that will give us, if we can collect all of this, that will give us a way of looking at the process that have come into place. This is not a fleeting moment in the history of the world. This is a very important moment in the history of the world, because we are moving into something that we have never seen before. And also because suddenly people were thrust without warning into having to use technology, unprepared. And that's a serious issue which we need to tackle. Now, you'll say everybody else is doing it, just maybe, but I'm suggesting we try to do it at the scale of Asia or the Asia Pacific. That's yes, sorry, I'm giggling because there's a suggestion by Dr. Sharma that we might have some artificial intelligence. And indeed, there may well be artificial intelligence, but that's a difficult project, not an easy one. So let's start with the easy ones. So that's one. The second thing is I would also like to have a catalog of all the research that we are doing in Asia. We just don't have that. Every time we have AsiaCALL, we see all these people arriving with new ideas, new research projects, and so on, and then they disappear, and we never see them again. well, we see them in our own context, but we've lost the critical mass of the moment. And it seems to me that we should try and put those together and see if there are any trends and see if there are any issues that need to be addressed. Okay. Let me all right. Let me try and raise the issue of artificial intelligence. It's actually extremely important. But the question of artificial intelligence is not just a question of deep learning. Sorry, of deep learning. It's not just a question of neural networks. It is a question of the models of education that we can work with. As I was trying to explain to you in my initial address, we have emerging technologies in the area of neurobiology. And what we're discovering with my work, at least, and I'm only a very small part of a very big world that does neurobiology, we're discovering that some things become learned automatically. So that's one thing. Give the brain the right input, it does the rest. There's other things which happen, interestingly enough, in a relatively automatic way, which involves autonomy. One of the things that I wanted to say to Dr. Wu, but nobody heard me because the microphone, the speakers weren't working or something, is that actually we have completed a doctoral study at my university under my supervision on the use of artificial worlds, not Second Life, which was too difficult for my student to use, but a different artificial world, exactly in the area of tourism and hospitality, actually hospitality. And the results were really quite surprising because we used a model of education which did not require teaching. What it required was interaction and participation and to learn to solve problems that people encountered so that their real needs became visible as they were interacting with the, as it were, as this was, essentially native speakers. So this group vastly outperformed the group of students who were taught in a classroom. And this is not the first time. So we're moving into an era where automaticity or self-management will become more and more important. And where, as a result of that, technology will become more and more important because it will provide the ability to connect to other people, the ability to access resources, and to navigate your way through the problems that you face. I say that because in that context, artificial intelligence is going to be very important. There are things that you can do right now with artificial intelligence. You can go home and go to Google and the TensorFlow authoring systems that they've developed, and you can create a little system that will be able to tell you if you have pronounced a particular sound correctly or incorrectly. If we can do that, then we can have, at a very simple level, you don't have to have a robot that is artificially intelligent. All you have to have is a robot that does simple things that teachers would otherwise waste their time doing and cannot do anyway because they don't have the case. You can discriminate between ship and sheep. Is the student saying ship? Is the student saying sheep? And then guide them according to the research that somebody has done. This is another issue I'm not going to talk about. But artificial intelligence could be one of the areas of activity. And if there are artificial intelligence programs going on, please report them. So we will try and set up a structure on our internet which allows you to enter information about COVID, enter your information about any other project, including COVID. And finally, we will also look at the possibility of some artificial intelligence work and build on that. Essentially, that's all I wanted to say to you. And I really want to hear what you have to say about the future. Yes, we have a very good connection in Vietnam, and we love being with you. We also need to include other people. We have quite a lot from other places, not enough this time. And we have learned from doing the conference that maybe the way to run conferences from now on will be in blended mode. By doing it in blended mode, if I put it that way, we can reduce costs of travel and we can increase opportunities for connections. And that, I think, is essentially the role of an association like AsiaCALL. Thank you for, I will stop now. Thank you for your support of AsiaCALL. There are other associations that you can join and other associations whose meetings you can attend. There are things like APACALL, GLOCALL, and so on. But you've chosen to be with us here today, and I am very grateful to you for doing that. So I'll stop now and leave the floor open to discussions. I do want to ask Dr. Ho to talk a little bit about the publications issue, and also Anja Lyon to talk about that in relation to what Dr. Ho will start saying. So as I said, we've revived it. We're thankful to everybody. Well, thank you. I will stop talking, but I'm listening to you. I hope I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the President.
No, thank you, the President. In terms of the publications, we have two persons. Dr. Anja Lyon, she's the chief editor of the AsiaCALL online journal. Dr. Hu, our dean, also the editors of that journal. I'm the managing editor. And then the second thing is that we publish with the proceedings of in Atlantis Press, we index in Web of Science. This is as I know so far, this is the first time it did not happen. And I plan to do it for the following years, either AsiaCALL or the LP Soul. Because in Vietnam or in Asia or even in the world, publications now move up to index, either Scopus or ISI. Scopus somehow a little bit slower or lower than the ISI, because in the world, ISI Web of Science, when they do kind of feedback reviews, they give us that they would qualify to try some papers. And our AsiaCALL online journal is also planned maybe in 2 years to be indexed in Scopus. From now on, we will be indexed, but actually we have 2 publications. Now it's up to your choice. Right? One, you can publish for free with the AsiaCALL online journal. This journal is international. The ISI number is indexed in the international centers of the United States. That Professor Andrew and I clarified in the past few months, and it is still running. And it's good that if we do kind of some of you in the future, if you want to become an associate professor like me or professor like Professor Andrew, and then that could be counted as 1 point. And for our university, each university have different counting for the teachers. But actually, like in Finland, maybe 400 hours, right? For that kind of international publication. And if we publish index in ISI, so much more, like 600 or 700 hours. And that's what we are doing for the process of revising first to tell the truth and so happy with my students. I'm from Anya. If you remember, if you mentioned when I get the paper, I scanned for the terminating similarity index. Most of my students' paper have less than 7% of similarity. Wow. Wow. Because many active authors, they are lecturers of university, they still have higher index of similarity. So congratulations, that's why I said you do a perfect job. Thank you again. However, one thing that I'm not sure what I do for some of the papers, because some of the papers are not related to call WL system, and you did not publish with the Atlantic system. So we are thinking about somewhere like maybe the Journal of Atlantic University that would be possible, and they would be happy if they publish students' paper. I hope so. And I think that Anya, maybe you will talk about because you are the chief editor of AsiaCALL. So what is your plan for the next issues for our proceeding papers? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't catch the last words you said, Dr. Ho, but first of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Ho, for all the work he has done about identifying a way in which to actually assist the journal so that we can actually have a reviewed publication in a more modern way, as it is actually done in Asia. I've seen it in other conferences using similar platforms. So I really want to thank Dr. Ho, because without him, none of that would have happened. So that's fantastic. I have never used this new system that we have inherited in order to actually improve the status of the AsiaCALL journal. So I've used it for the first time this year. And some of you have heard from me. In fact, probably many of you have heard from me. Because what happened, I didn't know how it works. So I reviewed just about every paper. So I think it's a good thing, because I was able to get not only myself a pretty good scan of what's happening, but also I was able to actually write to you in person and advise on some changes or improvements if they were to take place. So I was very happy with the status of the publications sent to us, very happy with the quick response from colleagues who actually submitted the paper for publication, were sent requests to correct, and they did it very quickly. So I think that at this very moment, as I see this situation today, I see AsiaCALL as a stepping stone for you to actually test yourselves with your skills of research, with your skills of writing. And that's the most publications that we received were basically of colleagues who were learning how to tighten up their research skills, tighten up their research vocabulary. So that was good. And I think that as we go forward, we will continue in this role. But as we build the expertise in Asia, we will also increase the status of the journal, increase the editorial board. We will be looking at more editors. I am very grateful to all the Vietnamese colleagues who gave a hand to review the papers because as you know, when we review papers, we have minimally 3 reviewers looking at the same paper. And when I was going through all of them, it was immensely helpful to see reviews from our colleagues from Vietnam, and they were good. Those reviews were excellent, very critical, very thorough. Even when I review papers for other journals, I am never this thorough. I am just good enough. But these people were really thorough, almost like by the time I actually got to read the paper that was submitted to us, I already knew what to focus on and to judge how much needs to be corrected and how much we can just let go, because some things will never be perfect. Nobody is. That's why we engage with other authors, and we can find points to critique in any paper of any professor. It doesn't have to be just a student or initial early career researcher. So as we go, we will continue with this help role, but we will also look at increasing the editor board, and we will discuss it with VIPs here and with the executive, how to do this and do it in such a way that the journal is still accessible to majority of people who want to actually publish somewhere and use the journal as a building skills step, rather than a gatekeeper, whereby it's either you do everything perfect or and get published, or if you just don't do everything perfect, you don't get published. So we will try the best we can to serve the role in Asia, to serve the role of building capacity of research. So that's I think has been done so far, I think quite well with this particular publications that we got from this conference, and we continue because the reviewing is still continuing. So we will have as they say, the thumb on the pulse and to see when is the time to actually start building the status of the journal even to higher rankings than it is now, and if needed, because I think that we need both. We need these high level publications, but we also need this helping hand as well. So we'll try to find the balance. So again, let me thank you everyone who has sent publications or who will still send the papers. Absolutely, we still accept them. I want to thank all the people who reviewed the papers. It's been an amazing job, very good job. And also want to thank Dr. Ho and Van Lang University for all the assistance that we got this year to actually get this conference on the road. It's been an amazing conference and a very helpful conference. It gave us a very good overview of ideas and struggles that we're facing with the new change. But we as AsiaCALL, or as CALL academics, we were a little bit more lucky, more prepared in some sense, rather than say the majority of schools where technology is actually just a toy, an entertainment, rather than a way to actually use it to enhance learning. So thank you very much. And I'll just give now pass my time to Andrew, for Andrew to complete the session.
Okay. Before Andrew say something, I would like to just to say thanks and introduce to you those people who reviewers for our journals during the last days. But Mr. Long, okay, he's one of the reviewers that just say hi. Is it Mr. Long? Hi. And yes, okay. My room, you also review. Okay, you also review. So they work very hard. That's why we are still in the process of production, right? And we will make it publish very soon. Because the paper. Hello. Because paper for submitting to the journal, we need a process. Submitting, reviewing, and revising. To make the papers more beautiful, right? I think Andrew and Anya, we also think about one more section step during the year, because from now every day we have the AsiaCALL normally November, about 23rd of November. And this is the call actually for 2020, but because we have to prepare very late, right? And we hope to January, so should we make it this year in November again? And should we have like every other month sessions of workshop? Okay. Thank you, Andrew and Anya.
So, sorry. So, are there any comments that people would like to make or suggestions before we close? Because we need to move on to the closing ceremony after a very long.
So we will inform them those information later, right? Okay. You have any more comments, Anya? Before we come to the closing section. I also need to learn from you that during the last 2 days we prepare, we do a lot, right? Many of you here are participants, presenters, and many also servers, right? To help this conference kind of success. So do you have any suggestions for the next AsiaCALL conference?
It's not right now.
Okay.
So you can send the link to
Okay. Okay, thank you. So now I would like to invite the chair of AsiaCALL 2021, BLP Soul, to come for the closing section. Okay. Can you see me there, Andrew? Anywhere in okay, good. Still very handsome, First of all, I would like to say thank you from my heart to AsiaCALL, especially Professor Andrew Lyon and William Lyon and all the keynote speakers from other countries, as well as from Vietnam. Also, from my heart again, heartfelt thank you to all participants from North to South in Vietnam. You know that some presenters and participants from Vietnam, the father here in Vietnam, to Vietnam in the South. They've been here for 2 days, working very hard, trying to be with us. And I think this is a good sacrifice for the weekends that are away to be with us. I can say that AsiaCALL has contributed a lot to our development in scientific research, in inviting many participants who can share a lot of experience in teaching, language learning, especially during the COVID pandemic. As you know, yesterday I talked about the tendencies of Vietnam today, that is digital transformation, especially in education. Our university is also one of the universities in Vietnam trying to do so in a very short time, in a few years. That's why the 3 projects from Professor Andrew Lyon just mentioned, I hope that we can become contributors again
and partners in creating new ideas, innovation, to change, to update our techniques, strategies in education, especially higher education, especially English learning teaching, as our university as well as all universities and schools in Vietnam. I think that this is time to grow, but this is not the last time. This is just the first time for all of us. AsiaCALL, or even the teachers and participants presented from Vietnam. I hope that now, just like Dr. Ho, Professor Ho just mentioned, and Professor Hill mentioned, we should think out for close partners in the near future. This year, 2021, if we cannot set up an integration program, at least we have professional workshop. And I hope that in workshop, the professors and experts from other countries, from AsiaCALL, can also help us to develop more in teaching in Vietnam. Because you know that Vietnam is also a developing country. And I hope that other experts from other countries, especially from USA, from Australia, some country in Europe, and even in Asia, like in South Korea, China, Malaysia, India, a lot of experience instead of the new environment for teaching learning. So, this is just the time to start today for 2 days. And this is also the time to begin new era for all of us. I hope so. Again, thank you, AsiaCALL, Professor Andrew and other coordinated partners and other countries. Thank you again. Thank you.
So the last book I want to send you is like also the same time for the last 2 days that we work very hard, and although some of you sent us abstract and design and paper, I try my hard to respond very fast, as fast as possible. So some of you really like this book that she also said I reply very fast. I try to record everyone. So I hope that if some of my work or sometimes I not good works to you, so I feel very sorry, and I hope that for the future we can see again and make a very meaningful conference again. Thank you very much.
If I may say one thing, Dr. Ho, may I say one more thing before we disappear? Thank you to you, of course, but also thank you to Dr. Hong for that address at the end. I just wanted to clarify something which I hold very dearly. Yes, it's good to have experts come, but the experts are not necessarily what we need. We don't need to discover more about American research. What we need is our research to be visible and to be valued. And I think Asian research can lead the world in discovering, especially in the world of mass language teaching that we are caught in Asia. It may lead us to discover new things that Western research has not discovered. The truth is not there. The truth is with us. And I think we need to realize that, be proud of ourselves, and work very hard to make a mark on the world, and not expect it to come from somewhere else. Thank you.
Agree. Thank you very much. We feel more confident to have a research. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
See you later.